Hello, this is Robert Ferguson. You're a nutritionist, author, best-selling author, and very proud of that. A guy who cares, and that's why I share. I created the diet-free life methodology. If you're new to me, that is a methodology that is evidence-based and clinically proven to not only help people lose weight, but lose weight without feeling like you're on a diet. And what does that mean, right? Lose weight and not feel like you're on a diet. Well, number one, you lose weight without avoiding carbs. So carbs is a big part of the factor. And again, when you're evidence-based and clinically proven to help people lose weight, that's pretty cool. But more importantly for me, um, we're clinically proven to help people lower cholesterol, lower triglycerides, lower blood pressure, um, become healthier, touching on all metabolic components of life and health. Now, if you're new, do me a favor and share, like, comment, let me know where you're from. I am going to share some information with you that is going to be a little shocking for some of you. So please share because the goal is to get the word out. And then I want to invite you to our seminar. Our online seminar is 100% free, and you'll learn quite a bit about health and things that you can do, what's in your power to improve. And a big invite to anyone over the age of, I'm going to say 35. Okay, 35, you feel like you've been struggling, you're doing everything you possibly can to lose weight, and it's just not working. So you start considering all these crazy diets that you know in your head are not healthy, but it's like, man, what do? I got to do something. Well, what I'm about to share with you right now is one of many things that I share with my clients, and it helps them live their best and their healthiest life. Because one of the biggest problems, you guys, when it comes to losing weight is not the effort. It's not really even the mindset. I mean, mindset is going to play a huge role in it. It's not even really discipline. You could be doing everything right based on the information you've been given, and the outcome may not be to your advantage. And the older we are, right, the more mature we are with age, the more important it is for you to do it the right way. Because I'm watching people lose weight the wrong way, and there is a right and a wrong way. And unfortunately, for instance, if most of their weight loss came from bone, muscle, and water, then they've damaged their metabolism. And over the age of 55, 60, it's almost, I mean, almost impossible. I mean, almost impossible to get that muscle back and to get your body back into a really good, sound, healthy place. So I'm going to share with you a dilemma, and this dilemma has a lot to do with oxidation. So, and then I'm going to share with you a product. So before I get into oxidation, I mean, you may hear people talk a lot about oxidation, but oxidation inside of our body is linked to type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, various cancers, heart disease. It is not a good thing. And antioxidants become a very powerful, helpful thing. So when you think of oxidation, as you can see with this apple, once you open that apple, the oxygen hits that apple and then it starts to turn brown. You'll see the same thing with avocado and various other fruits, right, and vegetables. Well, if you were to take some lemon and squeeze it on that apple once you open it up, that lemon is an antioxidant and it's going to protect or delay how fast that apple goes from being white in the middle to actually seeing the oxidation take effect. So eating fruits and vegetables, number one, is to your benefit. And number two, the thing that's creating a lot of havoc for people is causing insulin resistance. It's interfering with the process, it's speeding up oxidation inside the body, and people are consuming it all the time. And I'm talking about seed oils. Okay, so what are seed oils? Well, there's a lot of them, and if you come to the seminar, you'll learn the details. But I want to pick out one of the products. Okay, so this is a product that 15, 20 years ago, I used to recommend to people. And I wish I could call every person that I recommended this product to and tell them what I know about it. This is not a product that I would recommend. And the reason why I wouldn't recommend it is because it has seed oils in it. Now, what's the problem with seed oils? Well, number one, if you look at regular butter, that's saturated fat. And the government and the world has told us to avoid saturated fat. But in reality, saturated fat is resistant to oxidation, whereas unsaturated fats, like what makes up this product, is susceptible to oxidation. We're talking about one of the fatty acids inside of polyunsaturated fats. So polyunsaturated fat, or you probably heard of omega-6. Well, that causes inflammation. Whereas omega-3, which you hear a lot about with fish, salmon, that's anti-inflammatory. We don't want omega-6, and we definitely want to cut down on it, right? And so inside of that omega-6, certain oils are very rich in linoleic acid. And linoleic acid is 40 times more susceptible to oxidation than, let's say, if you had extra virgin olive oil. Linoleic acid is absolutely just horrific to the body. It produces this thing called aldehydes, and aldehydes are one of those fat oxidation products. And when you cook with seed oils, for instance, that are rich in linoleic acid, we're talking about generating 100 to 200 times the safe daily limit for aldehydes. And aldehydes is not a positive thing. And this is according to the World Health Organization. Okay, so number one. Number two, also the process that oils go through play a huge role in why they're damaging. But we definitely know about the linoleic acid. We know there's studies that back this up. There's study after study after study after study. And what's confusing is that you'll go to like the American Heart Association, right? Or you'll come across Harvard's medical school, or maybe you'll look up Tufts University or the Mayo Clinic, and they all encourage seed oils. Well, there's a political side to all of that, and I'm not going to get into it now. What I want you to know is how harmful these seed oils are to your body. It is not natural. And before 1900, we had little to maybe a touch of this fatty acid in our bodies. Whereas today, it's almost like, 20% of the fat stored in our body is made up of these pro-inflammatory oils. It's absolutely mind-blowing to me. So let's take a little closer look at these oils. So one, if you see here, whenever you buy a product, and if you want to find out if it has a seed oil, what you want to do is you want to look at the ingredients. And once you look at the ingredients, then you want to look for oils like canola, soybean, safflower. And in our seminar, I'm going to give you a full list of which oils you want to start cutting down on and choose products that don't have those oils. Now, I'm not going to beat up on palm fruit, as you can see, because palm fruit is not rich in linoleic acid, the one that causes all these problems, the one that's causing many people to experience insulin resistance. Some people can't lose weight, and a big part of that is because of their insulin resistance, which is largely the result of eating these kind of foods. It's so sad. So before I go into and show you what the ingredients look like, let me just share one key tip. And I could go on and on about these oils, but linoleic acid, right? That's in the omega-6, the unsaturated poly oils. Linoleic acid, what it can do is it can trigger the formation of this molecule called 4-HNE. And it does this by oxidation of the linoleic acids that builds up in the cells. And eventually, this causes the fat cells to experience what we refer to as hypertrophy, meaning the fat cell grows in size. Now, eventually, it becomes insulin resistant. I'm talking about the fat cell. And when that happens, the buildup and the way we're eating is still going on, right? Well, it starts to leak these fatty acids into the bloodstream, which results at the same time you becoming more pro-inflammatory. And it's the leaking of pro-inflammatory proteins that causes the body to become inflamed. Linoleic acid, mind-blowing to me. also reduces the integrity of intestinal epithelial cells. I'm talking about the gut lining, your microbiome. Linoleic acid builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up, creates this insulin resistance, and you start to have all of these challenges. I mean, the first recorded episode in a medical journal of a heart attack was 1912 in America. 1911, Procter and Gamble came out with Crisco oil. And when they came out with Crisco oil, it had a slow start, but it built up pretty quick. And then after the late 50s, after Eisenhower had a heart attack, everybody was looking for, you know, like a solution. And the world was in a panic. And this gentleman by the name of Ansel Keys literally came up with a hypothesis saying that if you eat fat and if you eat cholesterol, it's going to cause you to have heart disease or a heart attack. So that's when saturated fat, like beef tallow, like McDonald's used to cook their French fries in tallow, like natural fat, you know, from a cow, suet. You had lard, um, butter became like demonized, and we shifted to these polyunsaturated fats. And if you look at when the food industry really started pushing hard on this, you can see a direct correlation between our increase of these foods, these oils, and heart disease, all types of autoimmune challenges, obesity, and the list goes on and on and on. These seed oils are not our friend. So let me show you what to look for when you're checking out products. Um, this product, number one, is telling you that it's vegan, it's non-GMO, and this is great. Can't wait to get this, and it tastes pretty good. So you buy it, and then you have all these people that will support you on buying this, right? But then you look at the ingredients. You say, "Well, I was talking to this guy named Robert, or my coach Robert. He says that I should kind of pull back on some of these oils." Now remember, you have everybody from Harvard Medical School to the Mayo Clinic, the average doctor. They're gonna, and you can go and look all this up. They're all saying, "Oh yeah, that's fine, no problem. That actually helps reduce inflammation." So then who do you believe? Well, I have a whole bunch of data, studies back to back that proves and supports everything that I'm saying. So this is not my opinion. This is part of my responsibility is that to share the truth, right? Um, Now, when you look a little closer, you can see the ingredients. So after ingredients, you see the colon, and the first thing you see is natural oil blend. Now, what is the natural oil blend? You see a parentheses. What makes up the natural oil blend is palm fruit, which is not high in linoleic acid. Canola is not as high in linoleic acid, but it's there. And all of these are refined oils, by the way. Okay, and that's horrible. Actually, you're like, okay, if I'm going to say that, let me give you a couple of examples. When they make corn oil, it takes 98 ears of corn to produce 5 tablespoons of corn oil. When we're looking at 5 tablespoons of grapeseed oil, it takes 625 grapes to produce that. When you look at sunflower oil, it takes 2008 sunflower seeds to produce that 5 tablespoons of sunflower oil. Okay, and these are refined, and this is not a good thing. And then when you look at the process of these oils, right? I'm just gonna keep this really short. I'm just gonna share with you like a little bit of the process. Um, One of the first things they do once they extract it, which is a whole process in itself, they then begin with this thing called an acid wash process. So they heat those refined oils up and they wash it. After that, the oils cool down, then they heat it back up again through a process called neutralization. Then once that process is done, they take it through a bleaching process and they heat it up again, right? And every time they heat it up, we know that that just creates more, it makes it more and more carcinogenic, meaning the likelihood of attracting some type of cancer is increased like big time. Then after that process, it smells horrible and it tastes rancid. So they have to take it through another process where they heat it up again and they deodorize it. And when they do this, they literally take it up about 125 degrees Fahrenheit, higher than what it would take to do deep frying. And then they make it look pretty and they put it in a nice package and then we use it. And we've been using it way more today than ever. And one other thing that I'll mention without going into detail about 4-HNE and talking about this thing called aldehydes. Aldehydes that is in these oils and builds up inside of our cells literally disrupt our mitochondria. That is our energy store. That is the engine that makes everything move and work. And we know this. There's studies after studies after studies after studies that demonstrate this. And I can't tell you how many of my clients who used to be type 2 diabetic, we've learned how to eat in a way, we reduce the inflammation, the insulin resistance is gone, and now they are just living la vida loca. I mean, they're having a good old time. Well, look a little closer, and you can see where there's the canola, and then you can see the soybean. Now, soybean, it's really the seed, not the soybean. So we're not talking about eating a soybean because edamame beans are very healthy for you. But the soybean, when you see that, they're talking about they extract the oils from the seed. And there you go. The number one consumed edible oil in the world right now is soybean oil. And you don't know anyone that's cooking with soybean oil. Name one person that cooks with soybean oil. And so if soybean oil is the number one consumed fat that's in our body, how is it getting there? How are we consuming it? We're consuming it because it's in everything. Go to your pantry, go into your refrigerator, you'll be blown away. It's mind-blowing. And it's a multi-billion-dollar a year business. And there's lobbyists and there's politicians and there's things in place where this is not going to be fixed overnight. I'll conclude with this. Trans fats got introduced and everybody came to the conclusion that it was absolutely horrible. And it was so horrible and it caused so many preventable deaths that the FDA banned it. As of 2018, June 18th, the anniversary is coming up, trans fats are not supposed to be in the food supply. Well, they knew this was coming. And when I say they, the manufacturers. So they had to run around, get with the scientists and come up with something else that could help with shelf life and create that consistency needed that they were getting from the trans fats. So they came up with this thing called interestrified oils. And now I see that in the products. And then you have a bigger push on these other seed oils. So they stay one step ahead. Well, if the FDA banned something and it's been in the supply since 1911, and then it was on an uprise beginning in the late 70s and the early 80s, a lot of the people under my generation and younger, they grew up with a lot of these things. And guess what? They have all these new diseases and autoimmune challenges, challenges with their weight, their mind, their gut health, that was never, ever taking place. It was never, ever taking place. Hear me on this. So if we have 60 plus year olds having battles with their weight, with their gut, with autoimmune diseases, what do you think is going to look like in 40, 50 years when these kids get to the age that we are? I mean, Governor Tommy Thompson once said when he was the secretary for the Department of Health and Human Services that the generation that's coming up will be the first generation that will not live as long as their parents. This is not good. It really isn't. So, all this being said, We have a seminar. If you're catching this on the replay, you're catching it live, come to it, check it out. It won't be forever, but it will be informative. And it is my goal to give away a few things and kind of show you how you can take control of your health and make things better. And if you already know a lot about Diet Free Life and you want other people to know about it, then let them know. Invite them. I have provided the links. The seminar, all you got to do is you go sign up. And if you can't be there live, that's fine. You'll be emailed a link and then you can watch it at your convenience. All righty. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. If you're on the YouTube channel, be sure to like, subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so that whenever we put up information like this, which I believe is helpful, you will be aware of it. And then you can share with other people. And if you're not on YouTube and you're catching this on Facebook or LinkedIn, do me a favor and visit our YouTube channel. And we're looking to grow this thing and build it because that's where my podcast will also live, called Body Politics. And this podcast is a podcast show that is all about giving people an opportunity to be informed so that they're not misinformed. It's putting people in a position where they can live their healthiest life and make wise decisions for their health and their body instead of just being like sheep and just following along and not questioning anything. We live in a time where it's important to question. And I will make sure that I always have citations available so that you can go and look up and read the studies on where I get the information from and why I feel it's something worth sharing. Okay, so as always, we share because we care. I'm Robert